Section 4 deals with tabs, and the first assignment, 4.1, Winter Games, will have us create a document that's got a list of all of the Winter Olympic Games sites from 1924 through to the present, and they will all be aligned, the cities will all be aligned on the right hand side at 3.5 inches on the ruler. It's because we have a tab in here that pushes all of the text over to line up on its right hand side at 3.5, leaving what's called a dot leader. But before we do that, before we go about that, let's just take a look at a simple document to demonstrate what tabs do. If I click in front of the 1 here on line 1, I've got 6 paragraphs laid out here. So the first paragraph, we'll call it line 1. I'll hit the tab key, and you can see that the 1 gets pushed out to 1/2 inch on the ruler. If I go to line 2 and do the same thing again, in fact, line 1 would work this way too. Each time I hit the tab key, it pushes me out 1/2 inch. So each tab key, or each time I hit the tab key, it leaves like a 1/2 inch wide character on the page. And so if I wanted to push the 2 out, I could hit the tab key repetitively, and it would always be at either at a 1/2 inch or a full inch mark. Now, if I didn't really understand tabs, that's how I would try and position things on the page horizontally. If I did understand tabs, I would know that I could simply click right on the 4 here on the ruler. It puts a little L-shaped character on there, which is a left tab. And then, when I click or press the tab key, it goes right out to that location. Now, the advantage here is that I can take that tab and move it. And see what happens when I move it to 2.5? Well, that number 3 comes with me. Comes with me to wherever I want to put it. And this makes it a lot more flexible. Now, the thing to know about tabs is that they only exist on each paragraph that you put them in. So on paragraph number 3, I've put the tab in, but here on paragraph 4, look up top, there is no tab. On paragraph 5, there is no tab. If I wanted tabs on 4 and 5, and say 6 as well, I could highlight them all. I could click, well, let's put one here at 5, and now line 4 has a tab at 5 inches, so I can take this 4 and I could push it out there. I could do the same with the 5 because it has the tab out at 5 inches, and so does the 6. And because I have them all set together, I can highlight the 3 of them, and I can move them all together as well. So now it's much more flexible in where I move text around on the page and keep them all lined up nicely, making them look nice and neat. So let's go back to 4.1. So back to Winter Games, and on Winter Games we're going to create this list of all the cities holding the Winter Olympics since 1924. They're going to be lined up on the right hand side at 3.5 inches. So let's make that a little smaller, move it off to the side so we can keep an eye on it, use it for guidance, and we'll use the file from source files to create our document. Step number 1, highlight all the paragraphs. We want to change the tab setting on all the paragraphs at once, and let's put in a tab here at 3.5 inches. Now that goes in as a left tab, but if I double click on it, I get the tabs window, and this tabs window is very useful. It's good to take a look around in it. It says the default tab stops are every 1/2 inch. This tab stop that I'm dealing with right now is at 3.5 inches. This would be a list of all the tab stops on that particular paragraph or on the range that's been highlighted. So it's this one here at 3.5 inches that we're working with. The alignment of the tab, it's currently left. I'm going to change that to right. The leader on the tab is currently none, and I'm going to change that to a dot leader. So I can say OK, and now it's switched over to a right tab, and let's just test it out here. If I click in front of Chamonix and press the tab key, it moves over. In front of St. tab key, Lake Placid, tab key. This is getting awfully repetitive. Tab key, tab key. What I can do to speed this along, of course, is to use the replace command. Now the replace command can be accessed by hitting Control H, and Control H gives us the find and replace window. I'm looking for space hyphen space. So every time there's a space hyphen space together, like right here for instance, it'll find it, and I'm going to replace it with a tab. The reason I put the spaces there is that there are hyphens, like this one here at Garmisch Partenkirchen, and here between Vancouver Whistler, they have to stay in there, so I'm going to look only for hyphens with spaces. And I'm going to replace it with a tab. And in order to tell the computer what a tab is, it's the shift over the 6th character, that's called a caret, C-A-R-E-T, caret, and a T, and that designates a tab. So when I replace all, these here are going to be problematic. I should tell you this right now, but the rest of them will work fine. So let's replace all, and it's replaced 24. I'll say OK. Now let's look at what we've got here. These were problematic because the space hyphen space was replaced by this tab, and the tabs I put in manually show up here. So it's easily fixed simply by hitting backspace. And we backspace these over, and the right tab takes effect and lines them all up nicely. From here it's just a matter of using our selection processes here. We hold down the Alt key and we can select a vertical column. We'll make that bold. We hold down the Alt key and we can select this data, and that's going to be italic. Now if you've got a sharp eye, you'll notice that there are some of these dot leaders that look different than others. And the reason for that, these are little flat dots and these are stand-up dots. The reason for that can be determined when you click on the Show Hide button. And you'll see that when we highlighted to set the italics, in order to get garbage part incursion, we also highlighted a number of these tabs. Some of them we didn't highlight. So some of them are, these tabs are in fact in italics, as you can see, and some of them are not. That's not in italics. So that's not something you need to fix, that's just there for your information. But this assignment is now, it's almost done. We have to put in the date and time as a header using the header footer toolbar. So if we double click up here and we look up top, we can see that we've got the header footer toolbar. Date and time is right there. So we click on date and time. There's the date. Say OK. And let's get rid of all this stuff and I'll put the time there. Date and time. And the time's right there. As you can see, it was Thursday, March 22nd at 8:54 that I was doing this. That assignment is done. Good luck with yours.